Okay, though the programming language which is used in MS Excel is called VBA. Okay, so VBA stands for Visual Basic for Applications. Some of you may have taken some other languages earlier, right? C# or something? Never? C++, right? And you didn't take? So this is another programming language. It is called as event driven language. Okay, event driven meaning it will do some function for you, okay, and it will show a result in the file for you immediately. Okay, so it can help you to build customized applications. So we already discussed so many functions for MS Excel, right? Okay, there are so many functions, but you don't want to use those functions, you want to develop your own function. For example, the one which you did in the last lecture, you used an equation to calculate y1 and y2, right, and plot the graph. You want to do it again and again. You can develop a function for it yourself, and the function will work like the other function, minimum, maximum, and so on. Okay, so this can be done. So, and it is done using VBA. Now, if you have MS Office in your laptop, you don't have to worry about installing VBA. MS Office in the background is using VBA. Okay, and it is in all Excel versions, in all Microsoft Office versions. Okay, and you can use it with MS Excel for doing linear programming. Okay, you may not have used this option earlier, so you have to activate it in your Excel sheets. Okay, how to activate it? First of all, open the sheet and see if you can see a tab named Developer. Can you see a tab here with the name of Developer? Can you see it? Here, can you see a tab with the name of Developer? You don't see, right? You see it? Developer. Do you see it? No. No. Okay. So people who cannot see, and even for you guys who can see, there are some options in Excel which you don't see because you have not used them. So how to retrieve those options? Follow the same procedure. Okay, if there is some other option which you want to use in Excel but is not shown, how to retrieve it from the library? First of all, go to File. Go to File. Follow the steps so you know. Go to File. In the File, go for Options. Options. It will be at the end. Okay. When you click on Options, then you can see this window. Okay, in this window you see the option for Customize Ribbon on the left hand side. This one, Customize Ribbon. When you click on it, it opens this menu in front of you. Okay, this one. So the tabs which are already activated, they are with a tick mark, and the tabs which are not activated, they are without the tick mark. So you see the Developer tab here, you select it and then you click OK. So the Developer tab will appear now in your Excel file. Okay, and then you can go back and check the other tabs which you can activate for MS Excel. Like I said, some of them may not be available. Okay, because you have not used them. Okay, once you open this tab, so everybody activated, right? Developer tab activated for everyone. Okay, once you go for this tab, then you can see these options here. We will not discuss all the options, especially today. We only discuss the first three. Okay, which is Visual Basic. If you click on Visual Basic, it will open a new file. click on Visual Basic, it will open a new file. This is the Visual Basic application file, the VBA file. Okay, you can save it, you can type in it, you can open another old file in it, and so on and so forth. So the same things which you do with the file options. Okay, so if you want to do the programming here directly, you can do it, no problem. Okay, you want to open an old file, you want to save your own programming for later, it will save. Okay, now come back to the Excel file. Come back to the Excel file, and you see the second option is macros. On the left hand side, second option, macros. When you click on macros, it opens like a list. Okay, so this is like a list of macros. What is a macro? It's a unit of programming which is saved in this file. So you did some programming for this file earlier. When you open it again, you want to see what did I do. So you click on macros, you come here, and it will show all the programming which you have done. Got it? Now each macro is a small function. Okay, so it has a job, a task to be done, and it has a name. Okay, got it? So it has a task and has a name. Now on the side you can see different options. Okay, if you had done some programming, if you already created some functions earlier for this file, they will show here. Okay, if you want to take it from other files which are open, you click here at the bottom, and it will open from other files as well. You have the option for that. Okay, obviously right now we don't have anything. This file or other file, we don't have anything. So once we finish today, you can go back and check. It will show you the macros which we create today. Okay, now you see on the side here there are options. Okay, so once you click here, it will activate this option of create. So you can create a macro. You can create a macro. Okay, and like I said, once you go for creation, you have to give it a name, and you have to do the programming for it. If there is already a macro present here, if the list contains a macro, you click on it, you can edit it, you can delete it, you can run it, or you can run it partially. Step into means what? The macro does 10 things. I don't want to do 10 things now, I only want to do 5 things. So you can use a step into here. Okay, but all these options will work if the file has some macros. Got it? Clear? Recording a macro. Okay, so I am performing 20 different things in Excel. Okay, so recording a macro is the third option here. Okay, after VBA and macros, the next option is record macro, again on the left hand side. Okay, when you click on record macro, it will open this window in front of you. Now what did I say? Every macro should have a name. So you have to give a name. You will give any name you want. You give any name you want. A, B, C, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, 100, 200, whatever. Okay. And do you want to create a shortcut for this macro or not? So shortcut is control plus something, right? Control plus S does what? When you do control plus S, what happens? Come on, you don't know? Control S, save. You are searching for it. Control S is save, right? Control Z, undo. You didn't do anything, but will not undo. Trying to be smart. Okay, now very easy. Control C. Everybody knows it. Huh? COVID effects. Everybody knows. Control C, Control V. Everybody knows that. Okay. So these are what? Shortcuts. Control this, control shortcuts, right? You want to do something in the file and you want to save it as a shortcut key. You can do it. Huh? So I will create a macro here, name. I'll give it a shortcut key, control press something, and I click on OK. So then it will take me back to the Excel file. When I click on OK, it will take me back to the Excel file. And when you go back to the Excel file, this option, the record macro option, will turn into the stop recording option. Okay, so you do whatever you want to do in the Excel file, keep on doing it. You work for 15 minutes and then you say stop recording. So whatever you did in 15 minutes will be saved in this macro. So next time you run it, what will happen? It will do all that 15 minutes of work in 1 second. Got it? It just came into my mind. So you see, sometimes I have to do some calculations for my research. So I create a sheet. And calculations are very complicated. Our calculations are very complicated. I am boasting about myself. So our calculations are very complicated. So what do I do, or what others do? Even I have seen some students and other people also do that. What will they do? They will create a sheet. Okay. In the sheet, column 1 is this, column 2 is this. Now do this. They will type everything in the sheet. So if I am using your sheet, I will see, okay, step 1 this, step 2 this, step 3 this. They will do that. Okay. Instead of that, create a macro and tell that person just do control press this, or go in macros, run macro number 2. Problem solved, right? Excel will do each and everything for you. Okay. So I have calculations which take half an hour. So every time I don't have to spend half an hour. Okay, I just rerun that macro again. I put the values in the same columns and rows, I rerun it. Got it? Clear? Okay. Okay, try to record a macro doing this. Just focus on the first sentence. Forget about this window. I will tell you from where we get the window. But do that thing. Record macro. Put a name of the macro. Macro 1. And then when you start recording, put numbers from 1 to 5 in cell A1 to E1. So it will show horizontally 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But first start recording. When you put the 5 numbers, stop the recording. So every macro has, or in the background of a macro is a subroutine. What is a subroutine? It's a set of instructions or set of operations which the Excel performs in your macro. So when you told Excel do macro 1, Excel created a subroutine, and the subroutine is this. In cell A1 put 1, cell B1 put 2, cell C1 put 3, and so on. So the instructions are, in A1 put 1, B1 put this, C1 put this. These are instructions. So a set of these instructions is known as subroutine. So every macro has a subroutine behind it. Okay, a set of instructions which the Excel performs when you run the macro again. Okay, on top of this, so we will work in this window. Okay, so don't close it. Now focus here. On the top you will see the name of the macro, the name of the subroutine. Now you can see on top the name of the subroutine. Obviously it is the name of your macro, right? Macro 1. In one file you can create multiple subroutines and you can execute them, no problem. One file can have multiple subroutines. Now pay attention. Each subroutine has a start and an end. Okay, the start of subroutine is always sub. Okay, a new set of instructions or a new set of macro should always start with sub, sub. Okay, after sub you will type the name, whatever name you want to give. Now you see here it is creating a new subroutine and the name is new code. Okay, and then two brackets, nothing in the brackets. Okay, there is nothing in the brackets. Clear? Once you do this and you enter, once you write sub, the name you want to give and brackets, and you enter, it will also create the end statement of the subroutine. The end statement is always what? End sub. You don't have to type it. Excel will create it itself. You can see in the program here. The start line is what? Sub macro 1 brackets, and the end line is what? End sub. So when you start a subroutine and you give the name and you press enter, the end line appears automatically. You don't have to type it. Got it? Clear? Now your instructions are in between these two lines. Okay, the subroutine will perform everything between sub and end sub. Clear? Your program will do everything between sub and end sub. So if you give 10 instructions between them, it will perform 10 instructions. If you give 100 instructions, it will do 100 instructions. Got it? In some cases we want to add a statement as a comment for explanation. We don't want the program to do anything, but we want the guy or the girl who opens the program to read this statement. Okay, for example, I want to put a statement: this subroutine calculates area of a circle. So I don't want the Excel to write it anywhere. I don't want Excel to print area of a circle, but I want the person who is using the subroutine to know that this is for area of a circle, right? So in the program I'll put a comment, and putting the comment, it starts with single what do you call it? Inverted comma. You have double inverted comma and then you have single inverted comma, right? What do you call it? I thought, Pass like, yeah, okay. Okay. You're still teaching me Arabic, huh? Okay. So the single inverted comma. Anything you write after single inverted comma in a line, it will not be executed, it will just appear in the program. Got it? We call it a comment. Now keep one thing in mind. Whatever we are discussing now will also apply to MATLAB. So there is comment in MATLAB as well. Okay? Some of the statements, they apply in MATLAB as well. Okay? So that's why I said pay attention so that it will be easier for you later on. Okay, single quotation mark. The fasla is the single quotation mark. Okay? Now what do you call the point? Safar? A naqta, okay. In Urdu is there, it's also naqta, but with what you call dhamma. Naqta is with a fatha, right? That is with a Dhamma. Okay. So what did I say? Every subroutine must have what? I mentioned three things. Every subroutine must have three things. Tell me. The name. No, the name is this one. Every subroutine must have a name, which you will type here with the start statement. And every subroutine will have a start statement, sub, and every subroutine will have an end statement and sub. Okay? And anything between will be performed. Yeah, if your file contains multiple subroutines, so this will be a list. The bar where the name is appearing will show as a list. If you click here, it will open all the macros and all the subroutines which are stored in this file. So you can perform any one of them. You can select which one you want to perform. Okay, so one file is enough to store multiple, and you can perform each one of them as you like. Okay, so create a new code subroutine, and now you can see we are doing three things here. We are creating variables. Creating variables means what? I am taking some values and storing them into a variable. This is called creating variables. So I am creating three variables here, A, B and C. The value of A is what? What is the value of A? A. What is the value of B? Hello friend. You should all say B when you come inside. Right? I understand you are saying friend. And C is 4. Okay? Do it. So whatever your program file has, go to the end line and start with sub, new code and so on and so forth. So on the top you see these options. One of these options shows play. Okay. Now when you click on play, the Excel will perform your subroutine. Okay, which one? The one which is selected here in the name. Your file has 2 or 3 subroutines, right? Which one will be performed? The one which is selected here. Got it? Clear? Now if you click on play, what happens? Click play. Anything happened? Nothing happened. Okay. If you click on play, there is a mistake. The program will show you there is a mistake on this line. This is one thing can happen. I think this is happening with you, right? Okay, so if there is a mistake anywhere in the program, after clicking on play, the program will show you. Okay, it worked. I mean, it didn't show any error, right? But it didn't do anything. Now go back to the Excel file. Did it do anything in the Excel file? Did it do anything in the Excel file maybe? Did anything change in the Excel file? No, right? Nothing changed in the Excel file. Okay, so what are we doing? Why did we do it? I'm messing around with you. Okay, you asked program to do something, but you didn't ask the program to put the answer somewhere in the sheet. So it has a variable A, it has a variable B, it has a variable C. but it is in the program. You have to tell the program where to put these values. Otherwise, Excel sheet will have no change. So there are three ways in which you can transfer the value of the program to the value in the sheet. Okay. Let us look at each one of them. The first one is using the range option. So there are three or four different options, three options to take a value from the program and put it in the Excel sheet. Okay, one of them is the range option. Okay, you can see the syntax over here, range, bracket, pass the thing, again and again, and between them the cell number. Between them the cell number. Okay, so A will be replaced with number of the cell, A1, A2, A3, A4, B1, B2, whatever. Okay, and if you want to put it for more than one cell, then you can put the cell numbers with comma, A1, comma B1, comma C1, or you can put it with a colon if they are in a series. Okay, so you can write it as A1 colon E1. Now what's the difference between A1 comma E1 and A1 colon E1? What's the difference? A1 comma E1, A1 colon E1. What's the difference between them? Which one? The first one will go from A1 to E1, every cell, and the second one is only A1 and E1. Okay, so you can use both. You can put in the range function, you can put A as a single cell, you can put as multiple cells, and multiple cells can be with comma or with a colon. Okay, and B is the value you want to store. So I want the program to take the value of B and put it in cell A. Okay, and you can see some examples here. I want to put 5 in A1. So this is, I want to put high in 3 cells. So you can see the 3 cells over here. Okay, A1, A2, A3. Can I write it with a column? With a column? How do I write it with a column? This is statement A1 colon A3, A1 colon A3, right? Like we did here. Now what it will do? It will put value of B in these 5 cells. Same value. Got it? So one of the options to take the value from the program and put in Excel is the range. So with the range you give the range of the cell in which the value should be taken. Okay, and the value should be something which the program is calculating. B is something which the program has or it is calculating. Another option is to use the cells. Another command to take the value from the program, put it in the Excel sheet is the cells. Okay, so cells, it only takes one cell. It only takes one cell. Okay, so in the range we had the option, right? Multiple cells. In cells we have option for only one. So the format is, you go for, you write cells. Cells is a keyword, then bracket, then the row number and the column number. Row number and the column number. Okay. Now, if you look at the Excel sheet, the column have what? Numbers or alphabets? Alphabets. So the problem with this one is you have to give here a number. So A1 will be 1 1 and A2 1 2. So you have to do this in your head, or you have to count it in an Excel sheet. What will be J? So J is the problem, huh? J is a column number. Excel shows column number alphabets, and the program is taking, VBA is taking number. So you have to take the column alphabet and put it as a number here. Got it? So this is a small tweak here which you have to do. And B is the value which you want to put in cell IJ. Okay. So I is always the row number. We know the row number, and J is the column number, and which is the alphabet, and you have to convert it to the number. And you can see the three options here, the three things here. Okay. So you want to put it in first row, second column. So cells 2, 1, and the value is 5. You can directly write down the value. Second one, first row, second column. Okay. So this is what now? A2, B1, first row, so 1, second column 2, which is B. So B2 will become 1, 2 here. Got it? Okay. So what's the difference here? Here I was putting the value in the first option. In the second example, I am putting a text. So you can do it over the text. You have to do the faster time. Okay. And the third one, any value which the program has calculated. So B is the value which the program has calculated, and I am storing it in cell IJ. Okay. So B doesn't have to be a value. I can write B equals tan of theta. So whatever is tan of theta, it will be going in cell 1, 2. Got it? When I say B, B doesn't have to be a constant. B can be an equation. Got it? Okay, we will do it. And the third option is use active cell object. The third option is use active cell object. So this is the format here. Okay. So first of all, you will tell the program to select which cells. So you can see it has 2 commands. This option has 2 commands. First of all, to select the cell. Which cell we want to select? A cell. And again, A can be one cell. It can be multiple cells. It can be a series of cells and so on. The same thing which we discussed with range. So A can be only A1. It can be A1 colon E1. It can be A1 comma something. Okay, any. So it will select cell using the first command, and the second command is saying what? In those cells which you have selected, put what? B. Clear? Huh? Clear or not? So the good thing is the difference between this one and the last one is the last one only executes the command. This will select the cell and then execute. Sometimes it is helpful when you are plotting a graph or something like this. It is helpful to do it like this. Okay. So here the difference is the first command will select the cells in which the value will go, and the second command will put the value. Okay. And you can see the 3 options here. Not options, the 3 examples. It worked with number, text, equation, and thing. Okay. So this is, I think, the last one, using the sheets object. Okay. So one Excel file can have multiple sheets, right? You know that, right? One Excel file can have multiple sheets. Now the new Excel version, for me it's new, because I am very old. So the new Excel file, when you open a file, it has just one sheet, sheet 1, right? The old Excel files used to have 3 sheets by default. When you open a file, it has 3 sheets. Okay. So some of my friends, they are still using the old version of Excel. So when they send me the file, I know. I open the file, 3 sheets for no reason. Okay. But you see at the bottom, with sheet 1, you can see the plus sign. so you can go in a different sheet. Okay, so this option, with this option you can play around with the sheets. With this option you can put one value in sheet 1 and the next value in sheet 3. Okay, so you see at the bottom sheet 1. Sheet 1 is what? The name of the sheet. Okay, you can change this name as well. You double click on it, you can type another name. Okay, so in this command, in sheets command, again we have to select the sheet. Okay, so now you can see the command is only to go to the sheet. After using that command, you can use any of the previous 3 options. After using the sheets command, I can use the range option, the range select option, or the cells option. Got it? So the final, this first command is to go to the required sheet. Okay, I'll tell you something interesting. In this option, or in this option, the sheet command is already there by default. When you were using the cells command, the Excel was using the select sheet command as well, but it was selecting which sheet, because you did not mention, right, select sheet 1 or 2 or 3. So it was selecting which sheet? The one which is open. Okay, so whenever you apply these commands without using the select sheet, it will put the value in the sheet which is open. But you don't want to put it in that sheet, you want to put another sheet. So before the range command, before the cells command, before the active cell command or the select cell command, you use this one, sheets A dot sheet. Now A is what? The name of the sheet. A is the name of the sheet, the one which you see at the bottom. Okay, like I said, you can change it. Right now what is it showing? What is the name of your sheet? Sheet 1. So A will be sheet 1. Clear? After sheet 1, use any command which you want. So you can see the 3 examples here. Okay, so first command is select sheet 2. So now it will not work in sheet 1, it will work in sheet 2. Then range. Range is as it is. Select sheet 2, cells command. Select sheet 2 and then active cells command. You can see all the 3 options which we discussed earlier. Just add another one for selecting the sheet. Got it? Clear? Huh? Okay. Okay. Write a VBA subroutine named example 1. You should be able to print the numbers 1 through 5 in cells A1 through A5 respectively. Okay, like this. I want a subroutine which can do this. Put these numbers. Just putting the numbers, no calculations. Okay, and we'll try to use the options which we have discussed, right? Okay. Every subroutine must start with what? What is the first statement? So I will write it on the board and you try it in the subroutine, okay? The subroutine window. Don't do anything with Excel. Close the Excel. Go to the subroutine file, the program file. Okay? So in a new line, what is the first thing we write? Tell me. Sub. Okay? After sub, the name of the subroutine. The name is example 1. Then the 2 brackets. When you click enter, somewhere here it will write and sub. It will write. Don't do anything. Okay. Now what do I want to do? I want to put 1 in A1, 2 in A2, and so on and so forth, right? Clear? Huh? Okay. I can use the range option, right? I can use the range option. So range, now see I'm writing between these two. Okay, you cannot write before this, you cannot write after it. Okay, range, in the bracket the cell numbers. Which cells I want? Huh? Only A1? Yeah, A1. So A1 equals to 1. Then A2 equals to 2. Okay, up to clear? Huh? Now when you do this and then you play, it will write it down because you have given the cell numbers now. Try it. Okay, if you are looking here and then typing, that means there is a problem. Huh? Okay, you can look for the first one. Then this is what I said. You should learn yourself. Huh? If you have to look and type, then somebody told me, not me, like he said it in a lecture. He said when your phone starts recording, your mind stops recording. When your phone starts recording, your mind stops recording. Okay, this is what he said. Same thing here. This is what I did, this is what I did, and it's very long, so you can see it here. Difficult things for the exam. So every time I'll tell him which cell to select, and then I will tell him put the value. Okay, so 2 commands. Clear? If you want to use the Excel sheet, the active sheet command, I'll add another statement here. Select the brackets, sheet, and then the other commands will come. Okay. So what did I say at the start? Somebody used the first option, he is correct. Somebody used the second option, he is correct. Somebody used the third option, he is correct. Somebody used the fourth option with the sheet, he is correct. Okay. We cannot cover everything, but you should have a concept. Okay. What makes your life easier? Okay, same thing can be done for A, B, C, D, E. The only thing is, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I am writing A and B and C, and since they are text, so inverted commas. Clear? Now, when you put text in inverted commas, the program will write it exactly as it is within the comma with the casing, uppercase, lowercase. If you write A in uppercase, it will type uppercase. It will type lowercase, you will get lowercase. Okay, got it? Okay, so you have to be careful with it. Okay, yeah. So there is already a value in the cell, and I want to use it in the program. So reverse now. Now I'm doing what? The reverse. Earlier I was doing what? Taking the value from the program, put it in the cell. Now I'm doing the reverse. Take the value from the cell and get it in the program. Okay. So again, you can use the range, the cells, and any of the other options we discussed. But it will be reversed now. Okay. So it was what? Range cell equals to something. Now you see the syntax? The left hand side became the right hand side, the right hand side became the left hand side. Okay, clear? We just flipped it. And same thing will happen with other things. Okay, so cell number can be this, and so on and so forth. Yeah, okay. We said in range, the number, the cell in the bracket can be one cell, or it can be multiple cells, right? So if it is multiple cells, it will only take the value from the first cell and store it in your variable. So in the second example, B equals to whatever is in cell A3. It will ignore A1 and A2. Okay. And similarly here, it will take which value? A5. Got it? So when you are storing the value, I can only store one value. And which value? Value from the first cell mentioned here. Clear? Okay. So I can repeat the values in different cells, but when you are taking it, one value. And again, you can use the same options, the cells flipped. Instead of saying cell equals to this, something equal to cells. Okay. And again, it's the same. And the same with the active cell. So the first statement is same. Okay, range select. So select the cell, and the second statement flipped. When we were using it earlier, it was active cell dot value equals to B. Now it is B equals to something something something. Got it? Clear or not? So if you remember the first one, this one is easy. Wherever there was equal to sign, we put it upside down. Okay. Equal to sign upside down is the same, Okay. Write a subroutine, and the name of the subroutine is example 3, and it prints. Should be able to copy the values in cells A1 through A3 and prints them in cells B1 to B3. Okay, so it takes the values from A1 to A3 and puts them in B1 to B3. So you are taking a value and you are printing the value. You are using both, right? You are doing both. Okay. First option, using the range. Okay. So again, I'll start with the name, right? Name is example what? 3. Okay. Now the first command will be what? Now it's very easy. B1. Okay. B1 equal what? Range A1. It can. Does it work like this? Check. I didn't check it. Does it work like this directly? Why come? Come. But does it work? Using two ranges in the same statement, does it work? Just do it for one value. If it is and play it. So if there is an error, it will show you. So up till now what we have seen, a equals to something, b equals to something, and those things are constants or text. But each of the variable can have or can perform a mathematical operation as well, which you can see over here. Okay, so you can see a equals to this, addition of two numbers, subtraction, and so on and so forth. Or you can take two variables and create a third one, or take multiple variables and create a third one, a new one. Okay, so variables can be created by storing values directly, okay, like I am doing it in the first example, or you can create it using other variables like I am doing it in the second example. Okay, so for example, we want to write a subroutine example 4, and it should be able to take the values of a1 and a2 and print their summation. So you have to do a1 plus a2 and subtraction and multiplication and division in cells b1 and b2 and b3. So b1 is addition of a1 and a2, b2 is subtraction of this and this, and so on. Okay, clear? So what will I do? First of all, I will take the values of a1 and a2 and store them somewhere in the program, because every time I cannot do range. Range is not used for multiplication and addition, subtraction. For using a mathematical operation, you should take the value from the sheet and store it somewhere. Got it? Clear or not? So this is what they are doing. First of all, I will take the value. They are using cells command. You can use range command or active cell command, whatever. They are using cell command. So first of all, they take the values of a1 and a2, store it as a and b, and then they are performing each operation according to the cell in which I want the values. Okay. So this is taking the values and this is storing the values. Clear? No questions, right? It's very simple. Okay, for loop. So loop means what? A loop is what? Now from here onwards we are starting the statements which you will see in MATLAB as well. Okay, and for most of the cases even the syntax is also almost the same. So for loop, there is a MATLAB for loop as well. Okay, so try to pay attention so it becomes easier for you when we go to the MATLAB. Okay, so loop means what? Doing things again and again. So a for loop will create a repetition of the statements multiple times, as many times as you want. Okay, and for loop needs two things necessarily: the starting value and the ending value. Okay, so in for loop you start with a word for, something to do with my accent. Okay, for, so for, for, and then a variable should appear. It can be a, b, c, d. Normally we use I, but you can use j or k or a or z, whatever. Okay, and then you define the range of your loop. So it will start from 1, end at 4. After this statement, write whatever you want. So they just put a comment. This is a comment, right? How do I know it's a comment? One comma. And in the program it appears in green color. After you put the one comment in the program, it appears with green color. So I know it will not happen. It's only for me. Okay. So the for loop starts with 4 and it ends with next. So whatever you define between 4 and next, it will be repeated how many times? How many times? 4 times. Got it? So if you write here between 4 and next 2 into I, so how many times it will multiply 2 with I? 4 times. Okay, it will take this value of I and multiply by 2. Got it? So how many times the code or this will run? It's very easy actually, but they have given us. Okay, we know it will perform 4 times, right? There's an equation for that. These are not my slides, but they are good. They are good because half of you are sitting home, so they are good. Okay. So let's suppose we want to write a VBA subroutine with a for loop. Okay, and what the loop is supposed to do, it will place the numbers 1 to 5 from cell B1 to cell B5. Which numbers I want? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which cells? B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. Okay. Now you see something new here, which is assigning the cell number with an AND operator. Okay, they call it concatenation. Okay, this AND. Okay. Okay, so not the A and D AND, this one. So this statement will do what? A equals B and I, whatever I is. If I is 1, then A is B1. If I is 2, then A is B2. Got it? Clear? Okay. So you see the first statement is what? We start with sub, the name of the subroutine, the 2 brackets. Now the for loop comes. Now how many times I want to run this? I want 5 numbers. I want to run it 5 times, right? I want to run it 5 times. So from 1 to 5. Okay. Each time I want to print a value. Now which value is that? The value of I. Value I is what? 1 to 5. I want to print 1 to 5. So each time, whatever the value of I is, I want it to go in cell B1, B2, B3 and so on. So 1 will go in B1, 2 will go in B2, 3, okay. So every time the row number is changing, the column is same. So I created a variable here. Variable will take the value of B, which is the same column every time, and then the row number changes, right, every time. So it will take a new row number with every loop. First time it will have a number of 1. Second time it will have a number of 2 and so on. Got it? So first of all I define a variable A. In variable A I am storing the cell number, in which cell I want the value, and then I go in the next statement. The next statement is range, whatever. Got it? So A1 is, now again I am using I here, see. So A1 will have 1, sorry, B1 will have 1, B2 will have 2 because I will change, right? Got it? Clear everyone? Any question? Say it. Clear? Okay. If you are doing it with cells command, it becomes easier. Because in cell command, I am putting the row number and the column number, right? I and J. So I is changing and J is 2B, right? So see, it became easier. I don't have to do this. If I am using cell, I don't have to do this. I write cell I comma 2, whatever the I is. See, it becomes easier. So sometimes this is easier, sometimes the other one is easier. And then with the select cell command, I don't know. if we were ever to use it. Okay, it increases one statement, right? Okay. Okay. Write a subroutine with example 3. If you have for loop, generates number through 1, 2, 3, 1 through 4 diagonally. So we are storing values diagonally. Okay. Finally, display the value of iteration and do the no, just store the values diagonally and display the iteration variable at the end. Display the iteration variable at the end. Okay. Let us write the program. The logic is when you the loop will continue until I becomes more than the final value. If I is 4 or less, the loop will continue. So when the value of I became 5, then the loop ended. So that's why you see the value of I as 5 here. Got it? Huh? So every time the program was doing what? Adding 1 in I, adding 1 in I. So first time it was 1, second time it was 2. 2 is less than 4, right? It will continue. Next time it became 3. 3 is less than 4, continue. Next time it became 4. 4 is still the last value, it will continue. Next time it became 5. So value is 5. Now the loop cannot continue, but the value is still 5. Okay, got it? So that's why it printed 5 in the end. Okay, so you have to keep in mind when the loop finishes, the value of the iteration variable is more than the loop. That's why the loop finished. Okay, we will use it later on. Okay, write a VBA subroutine. Example 4. It should have for loop which adds the number placed in cells A1 to A5 and places their summation in cell B1. Okay, so okay. So here, whenever you use for loop, the increment or the increase in the value of I is always plus 1 by default. So after 1 it will become 2. After 2 it will become 3. It always goes forward and with an increment of 1 by default. But let's say you want to change it. So you can use the step command with it. So for I from 1 to 5, a step of 2. So the first value of I is 1. The next value is not 2. It is 1 plus 2, which is 3. Okay. And the next value will be 3 plus 2, which is 5. So you can define the size of the increment, the increase, and you can do it reverse as well. You see here 5 to 1. Okay, increment of minus 2. So the first value is 5. The next value is 5 minus 2, 3. The next value is 3 minus 2. Okay, so you can define a step and it can go both ways, forward and backward. Okay, and again you want to find out the how many times the loop will work. Okay, so the ending value is 5. First example, ending value is 5 minus starting value 1. 5 minus 1, 4, right? Divided by the step 2. 4 upon 2, how much? 4 upon 2 is 2. 4 upon 2 is 2. 2 plus 1, 3. So the loop will run how many times? 3 times. Okay, apply it to second example. Ending value 1, starting value 5, 1 minus 5 minus 4, increment minus 2, minus 4 upon minus 2, 2, minus cancel, no? Plus 1. See, so loop will run on 3 times again. Got it? Clear? So when you are using a step size, it can become confusing. You are using forward and backward. To see how many times the loop runs, you can use this equation to make sure. I want to do it 100 times. Will it do 100 times? Find out. Okay, clear or not? But if you are doing for I equals 1, 2, 100, it will do 100, huh? It will do 100. Okay. A subroutine named example 5 should have a for loop. Starting value 9, ending value 1. So going backwards, huh? Going backwards. Step size minus 2. The values must be printed on cells A9 through A1 with a step of 2 cells. Okay. So the loop is working with a 2-step cell, and the values are also required with 2 steps. Okay. And the exiting value of the for loop, the iteration variable, put it in cell B1. Okay. So I want the values in the first column, and I want the last value of I here. Okay. We already did it here, but now they are asking you to do it backwards. Okay. So you will do sub whatever, you know, right? Sub. Okay. 4 I equals what now? Tell me. 9, 2, 1, and step minus 2. Okay. What I want the loop to do? What I want to do inside the loop? Print the values, right? For print you can use range or cells or active cell, whatever. Okay. So I am using cell for example. First column, always first column, huh? Only the row is changing. So row is I. I comma 1 equals to I. Okay. And then next I. Okay. So it will put in the 9th row 9, in the 7th row 7, and so on and so forth. Right? What I want in the end? Range B1 equals I. So it will print which value of I? 1. What will it will print in the end? In B1, what will be the value of I in B1? 1 minus 1. Why minus 1? Because till 1 it will work. After 1 it will do minus 2 again and then end. So 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Got it? So if you are using a step, then it will add the step and then end. Got it? The final value will be the loop plus a step. That is the final value. Okay? Clear? Okay. Find the summation of the even numbers between 2 to 100. Summation even number 2 to 100. What do I do? Okay, so you know the start and the end. Okay, I am not writing start and end again and again. You know how the subroutine starts and ends. Okay. Okay, tell me. I want summation. Sum equals 0. For I 2 to 100, step 2. And what I want to do in the loop? Summation. So sum equals sum, okay. plus I. There's no cell. It's in I, huh? It's not written in the Excel sheet. We don't want to take it from the Excel sheet. It's not in the Excel sheet. It's in the loop itself. Okay, so plus I. Anything else? None, right? So next I and end it. Ends up. Clear? Any questions? Fine. If you want, you can add a statement after this to put the number somewhere, right? I want to put the number somewhere. So after the loop finishes, you can use AND or cells to put the number in the Excel sheet. This will do what? Only calculate. It will calculate the value, but it will not give you. Okay. So after the loop finishes, you have to put a statement here. Range or cells or active cell, put it here. Put somewhere. Otherwise, in the Excel sheet, it will not show anything. Okay, got it? Clear? Okay. Okay. What is this doing now? So now I'm multiplying. I start the loop, okay? I equals to what? 1, 2, 16. Step 3, good. First what? Initialization. Okay. Let us complete the loop. Then I will put the initial. Okay. What I want to do inside the loop? X multiplied by I, right? X multiplied by I. Now, when the loop will run for the first time, there is no X. Okay, so I have to initialize. What do you initialize? X equals 1. Why 1? Because it is a product. You cannot do 0. 0, everything will become 0, including your grades. So, anything else? Nothing, right? So I will end it. And after that, I can use cell or range or something to print it. Clear? Any questions? Clear or not? Okay. Good example, This one. Okay. We can do it in multiple ways. Okay. You can use a loop changing the power of that denominator. Okay. So the numerator is same, right? 1 plus 1 upon something, right? Every time it is 1 upon something. The denominator is what? First time it is 2, next time it is 4, next time it is 3. 4 is square of 2, and 8 is square of 3 is 8. Square of 3 is 8 in which universe? 2 power 3, yes. 2 power 3, yes. Okay. So this is 2 power 3, 2 power 4, 2 power 5, and so on. Okay. So I will have a loop, and every time the power will change. Okay. Do I need this? No. Sure? 0. You can put 0. Okay. Then I equals to what? Huh? 0 to 7? You want to start from 0? If you want to start from 0, make this as 1. I'll tell you, okay, let us do like this. Okay, let us do like this. So x is 1. My first value was what? 1. Okay, done? Okay. No, then I would start from, okay, you want to start from 0? Okay, let us start from 0. Okay, and I will make it from 0. You were right, sorry. I'll make it from 0. Okay, and how much I want to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many terms I want here? 8 terms, right? I want to perform the loop how many times? 8 times. So from 0 to 0 to 7. 0 to 7, right? 0 to 7. Should I put a step size? 0 is included. So 0 to 7 is 8. Okay. Nested for loops. Nested for loops means one loop contains another loop within it. This is what we call as nested for loops. I told you last time nested if statements, if you remember. Nested if statements. One if and in, another if. So this is nested for loop. One for loop in another for loop. Okay. You can see the example over here. The outer loop is I. The inner loop is j. So I goes from 1 to 4, j goes from 1 to 5. Okay, and the inner loop ends first, then the outer loop ends. And how do I know this is the inner or the outer loop? From the iteration variable. So you can see j ends first, then I will end. Now what will happen? How many times the I loop will run? How many times? Tell me. The I loop will run how many times? Why? I loop. The I loop. 4 times, right? I loop will run 4 times. How many times the j loop will run? 5. 5. Let me give you an example. I take 2 tests. I will take 2 tests, right? I said I will take 2 exams, right? 2 exams for each one of you, right? In the end, I will have how many exam papers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many total? 6? 12, right? Because 2 for each one of you, right? Same thing here. How many values of j? 5. But 5 for each value of I. For each value of I, j will run 5 times. So total how many? 4 into 5. J will run how many times? 20 times. Got it? Clear or not? So the inner loop repeats multiple times. Okay, because it will repeat, it will complete its root, it will complete its loop once, then it will go to the outer loop and do again. So it will complete 5 for I equals to 1, then it will complete 5 for I equals to 2, then 3, then 4, and so on. Got it? So the inner loop will run more times, and number of times will be the multiplication. Okay, what are the things you can do, what are the things you cannot do? Now this is very easy. You are using one loop. Okay, so I starts, I ends, then j starts, j ends, k starts, k ends. So it is the same subroutine. It has 3 loops. Are they nested? Are these nested loops? I, j and k, are these nested loops or not? They are not nested. Nested means what? One loop, the other one is inside it. Is j inside I? Is k inside j? They are not nested. They are three separate loops, but they are in the same subroutine. Got it? This is possible, no problem with that. One subroutine can have multiple loops. Okay? Now, see, I starts, then j starts, then j finishes, k starts, then k finishes, I starts. Are these nested loops? Yes, they are nested loops. J and k are inside I, so they are nested. Got it? But here you see, I have one outer loop and two inner loops, both of them separate. J is separate, starts, ends. K is separate, start, ends. Both of them are inside I, but they are not inside each other. Okay, got it? So they are nested, but they are one level nested. Okay, so within the loop I have two loops which are separate. This is done, no problem with that. This is possible. Now look here, I starts, j starts, k starts. All three of them started, right? So they are nested. They are nested. J finishes, then k finishes, then I finishes. This is wrong. This is wrong. Why? The innermost loop should end first. What's the rule? The loop which is the most inside one should end first. Okay? Which one should end first here? K. K is the most inside one, right? So K should end first, and then J, and then I. Got it? So it goes in reverse order. When you are closing, it goes in reverse order. Okay? So this one has a problem. It is ending J first and then K. Not possible. Problem. The program will give an error. This one, I starts, J starts, K starts. What should finish first? K. And K is finishing first, then J and then I. So this one also fine. Is this nested? Yes. How many levels? 3 levels. The inner one. Okay. Okay. I starts, J starts, K starts, and then I ends. Possible? Not possible? Not possible. Again K and then J, then I. Okay. Write a VBA subroutine named example 1 should have a nested loop for which generates the output shown in the picture below. Just printing the numbers. Just printing the numbers. Okay. So I want the numbers in the first column, second column, third column. 3 columns, and I want the number in the first row, second row, and the third row. Okay. So let us do that. The first one we already did. Second one is using I and J. Okay, so this is something a bit more complicated, but you can see they are using it directly. I and J directly. So you have to formulate it. So J is what? 1, 2, 3. So first time the J is 1. So you can see no initialization. No initialization. And no variable, direct. Okay, so let us see how did they do it. J equals what? For the first time J will be 1. So 1 plus 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 into 3 is 0. So it will be 1. Next time J will be 2. So 2 plus 1 minus 1, 0, 0. And again, second time it will be 3, 3 plus 0, 0. Oh, sorry, 3 plus 0, 3. Next time, now I is 2, right? So j is 1, 2 minus 1, 1. 1 into 3, 3. So 1 plus 3, 4, and so on. Okay. Program is simple, but you have to come up with this logic. Huh? This one is was easier, right? Longer, but easier. You have to come up with, okay, what do I do in the second column, what do I do in the third column? Huh? So, but this one and that one, same, answer is same. Okay, and program is correct. Program is correct. Okay. Okay, write a VBA program. You should be able to add the student grades. So there are 5 student grades. How many are you? 6. Okay, I'll take one of you out. And then it will do what? Place a summation in column F. So for every student, it will do the summation for rows. How many students I have? 5. For each student, I want to add how many values? 4, right? So the outer loop, 5 students. Inner loop, 4 values. Okay? Let us okay. Outer loop for I equals how much? 1 to 5, or you can do 2 to 6. You can do 2 to 6. Why? The row number. It will help you with the row number. Okay, so you can see the same thing here. Okay, but they are using I comma j. I don't know why. Can we use j here? You see, the only difference is I am using what? I comma 6. They are using what? I comma j. Will it work? Why? Yes, answer is correct. It will work. It will work. Why? Because it is within the slides, right? Slides are from God. They cannot. It will go to 5. Then add 1. So j is 6 every time. When the inner loop finishes, j is 6 every time. So whether you write 6 or j, same thing. Till 5 it will work. Then when j becomes 6, it will go out of the loop and j is 6. You can use it like this, no problem. Okay, like I said, 2 options. Okay, VBA subroutine example 3 should be able to find the value of x factorial. Something which we love, factorials. Okay, so every time it will calculate the factorial. So again we have to use nested loop. Okay, let us look at the program which they gave. Did we do the same thing, or is there any change? Okay. So instead of doing this, they are saying take the value from the first column. We put it in terms of I. They are saying, okay, value in the first column is already there. Take it, just take it. Got it? Clear? Only difference. It will work and this will work. Okay, but the only difference is here. We define x in terms of I. They are saying just take the x from the first column, whatever the value is. Got it? Okay. Nested for loops for solving the following questions and place the result in one of the cells. What is this? Find the average of the numbers within the cell shown below. So we want the average, right? We want the average. Okay. Average equals what? Yeah, I can use this. Average equals, tell me. Sum divided by count. Sum divided by count. So I am doing summation, I need this, right? Initial variable. You can write it as sum, no problem. How many rows and how many columns? 5 rows, 4 columns. Now I am adding, right? I am not adding for every column or every row. Everything add. So whether you put this as 5 or this as 5 doesn't matter, because in the end I want the addition of all the values. So let's say 5 and 4. Okay. Then this one, sum. Now sum what? The previous value plus whatever you have in cell ing. Okay, whatever you have in cell ing. Clear? And it will run and so on. Where do I want to calculate the average? I want a count variable as well, right? I don't know how many values. Okay, so I have the sum, then I have to divide the sum with something. But my question was, where will I divide? Should I divide here or here or here? Okay, first of all, I don't need this. I don't need it, right? Sum, I don't want to print it. What do I want to print? Only the average. Where will I calculate the average? Here or here or here? Inside the J loop, inside the I loop, or outside all the loops? Where will I calculate the average? Outside the loop, right? Outside. Average. Average equals what? Sum upon count. How do I get the count? We should put count equals to 0 and then start the addition, right? Count equals to 0, then plus 1 every time. You can do it, but there is a better way to do it. I already told you. Count is how many times the loop is running, right? How many times the loop will run? Tell me. 20 times, right? What is 20? I multiply by j. So let me put count here. So I will calculate count and then I will do the average. So average is sum upon count. Now what is count? She is saying I multiply by j. I multiply by j. What is the value of I? When this loop finishes, what is the value of I? I. 6. I minus 1 multiplied by j minus 1. Because when the loop finished, the value increased. Okay, so it is I minus 1 multiplied by j minus 1. And whatever the count is, then you can do the same. Okay, got it? Clear? Okay. Now, what you were saying, they did it here. This is what you were saying, right? Count. Every time the loop runs, count it one more. Count it one more. Count it one more. So, you can put it inside the loop, or you can just directly calculate outside the loop once. Both will work. Okay. Find the value of W from the equation 12 plus summation of the ratio, and the ratio we have a factorial. So we have a summation and we have a factorial. So I need two loops, right? One loop for what? One loop for summation, other loop for the factorial. Okay, let us see how. Let us see if they did anything. Okay, are they doing the same thing? Same, huh? No change, thank God. Okay, if statements, we'll do it next time obviously. 327, right?